Hello, baseball fans. King Ikibu coming to you live from Crosley Field in Cincinnati, where today we will start our Cincinnati Reds franchise of our 1930-1968 challenge. And we're going to introduce to you the Cincinnati Reds. The Cincinnati Reds were the worst offense in the National League in 1930. They finished 7th, just ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies with a record of 59-95. They had some long losing streaks in this season. They had a horrible second half. I mean, up to here they were 40-45, so just below 500, but they only won like 6. They won some games here, but let's say 15 games in the second half. I mean, it was really bad. Yeah, 40-59. So 19 games in the second half of the season. So they just collapsed. Like I said, they were the worst offensive team in the National League, and they finished 6th in ERA. So they're just a generally bad team. And I guess because the Philadelphia Phillies were probably the worst pitching staff in baseball history, that was the only thing that saved them from being in last place. On the other hand, the Cincinnati Reds, more familiar, I'm sure, to you all, in that some of these players are quite familiar to you. They had the best offense in the National League in 1968. Of course, 68 was the year of the pitcher, but of all the National League teams, they had the best offense. And they really didn't have like one guy that stood out. I mean, they're all good. Their middle infielders were good. That's why they had to, or not very good. That's why they had to trade for Joe Morgan, because he had Tommy Helms at second base, and then Davey Concepcion came later to replace Leo Cardenas. So that's where they upgraded here, and of course bits and pieces elsewhere. But the core is shaping up for the 70s dynasty. Pitching-wise, they were 10th. In the National League, which is last. So they had the best offense in the National League in 1968 and the worst pitching staff, which is why they finished 4th. And so let's get this game underway. We, of course, play the first game always traditionally in the National Pastime III game, so that's what we will do. And let's introduce to you the 1930 Cincinnati Reds. Leading off and playing left field, Kurt Walker. Batting second, the first baseman, Joe Strip. Batting third, the right fielder, Harry Heilman. Batting fourth, the third baseman, Tony Cuccinello. Batting fifth, the center fielder, Bob Musil. Batting sixth, the second baseman, Pat Crawford. Batting seventh, the catcher, Clyde Sukeforth. Batting eighth, the shortstop, Leo the Lip DeRocher, and batting ninth, the starting pitcher, Benny Fry. And for the Cincinnati Reds, leading off and playing right field, Pete Rose. I think you've heard of him. Batting second, the left fielder, Alex Johnson. Batting third, Lee May. Okay, batting third, the first baseman, Lee May. Batting fourth, the third baseman, Tony Perez. Batting fifth, the catcher, the rookie of the year in the National League, Johnny Bench. Batting sixth, the center fielder, Veda Pinson. Batting seventh, the second baseman, Tommy Helms. Batting eighth, the shortstop, Leo Cardenas. And batting ninth, the pitcher, Jerry Arrigo. So that is the lineup. Let's get this game underway. Leading off, Kurt Walker. He is very good on base man at .397. And he grounds out. Joe Strip, the first baseman, he strikes out. And Harry Heilman, I think he was a longtime Tiger and now playing for the Cincinnati Reds. And he walks. Best pitcher or best player on the team, best player in the series. Of course, that doesn't mean much because the last two best players in the series didn't do very much. Earl Webb didn't do much for the Red Sox of 1930, and then forget forget his name in center field for the Boston Braves, but he didn't do much either, whoever he was. So Heilman will not steal. Can't get the jump. And so a man on first. He's a S runner, so we will put on the brakes. And Cuccinello singles. See, if we didn't have the brakes on, well, he would have made it. Because, well, center fielder, let's see. Center fielder was a 2, yes. So even though he's an S, he would have made it. It doesn't say S runner out at third. So he would have made it, but that's the chances you take. Here's Bob Musel. He was a long-time Yankee. Now playing for the Cincinnati Reds. And he grounds out. So that's the end of the 1930s first inning. Here's Pete Rose. He gets second column, 41. So he's going to lead off the game with a double. Rose is on second for Alex Johnson. Base hit and scores. Alex Johnson drives in Pete Rose. Oh, he's going to try to steal. Yes. Doesn't get the jump. So 1-0 Cincinnati, 1968. Here's Lee May. He grounds out, but Johnson goes to second for Tony Perez. He grounds out, runner to third with 2 out for Johnny Bench, who flies out to end the inning, but the 68s have a 1-0 lead. Here's Pat Crawford, the second baseman. Gets a good roll, but Arrigo takes it away with his 10-2 rating, his B. The only weakness he has is the W. Sukforth gives up or gets a base hit. So 1 out, 1 on for Leo DeLip. Couldn't hit very well. I think he had better offensive seasons, but this was not one of them. And he gets a base hit here. So 2 men on for Benny Fry, and he's a very good for a hitting pitcher. So we will put on the brakes again. And here's the pitch to Benny Fry. He walks to load the bases for Kurt Walker. 1 out here in the second inning. Put on the brakes for Leo DeRocher. Here's the pitch to Kurt Walker. Sacrifice fly. Lots of mistakes today. So the 30s have tied the game at 1. That's what we want. We want competitive series. So put on the brakes on Fry. Here's Joe Strip, the first baseman. Flies out to end the inning. So we're tied after 1.5. Here's Veda Pinson. He played for Cleveland in the early 60s, and now he's playing for the Reds. Grounds out. Tommy Helms singles. Doesn't get the jump. We're not going to take the chance. Man on. I don't put the brakes on 1 out. I always do 2 outs. Cardenas. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Cardenas. Didn't live. I lived then, but I didn't follow baseball when I was 4 years old. So anyway, ground out. Runner at second for the pitcher, Arrigo, and he's not very good. And he pops out. So after 2, it's still 1-1. Here's Heilman. Heilman walked first time up. Ground out. Cuccinello flies out, and Musel flies out. Here's Pete Rose in the bottom of the third. He singles, so he is now 2 for 2 with a double and a single for Alex Johnson. Johnson, fielder's choice. He's going to try to steal, doesn't get the jump. Lee May, double play. So after 3 complete, 1-1. Pat Crawford, he grounded out first time up, strikes out here. Sukforth grounds out, and DeRocher flies out. Tony Perez grounds out, pops out, flies out. Through 4, we're still 1-1. Here's the pitcher, Benny Fry. He singles. So he's walked and singled. Here's Kurt Walker. Not Warner, Kurt Walker. Of course, I'm thinking of the Seattle running back, Kurt Warner. Or is that Kurt Warner was the quarterback, wasn't he? Of the Giants and the Cardinals and the Rams. Yeah, that's more like it. Getting my guys mixed up. Benny Fry on first base still for Joe Strip. And he walks. 2 men on. So we'll put the brakes on. And we'll try and let him try to score on a double. Here's Heilman. He's walked and grounded out. And he's flied out this time for Cuccinello. Cuccinello walks. Load the bases with 2 out for Musil. Musil flies out. 4.5. Still 1-1. Tommy Helms got the bottom of the order. Should be easy for Benny Fry's last inning. Ground out. Strikeout. And actually, he's done. Arrigo, so he can bring in a pinch hitter. Who should we bring in? 2 out. I'm not going to bring the best. Woody Woodward, backup shortstop. Fred Whitfield. Jimmy Schaefer can't hit a lick. Here, Chico Ruiz. Chico will come in, and he will bat with 2 out, 2 away here in the 5th. And he grounds out. So we have to bring in a reliever. Good job by Arrigo. And we'll bring in... We'll save him. Gary Nolan's good. Not very good. Richie has that N. We want to avoid that. Another N. This is the worst pitching staff in the National League, so we're not overwhelming anyone with our prowess. We'll bring in Bill. Yeah, the bottom of the order. Not much of in the way of power. We'll bring in Bill Kelso. To pitch, he has M, which is not good, but he does have a Z, which means he'll strike out a lot of people. So here we go. Bill Kelso to face Crawford. Ground out. Sukforth gets double ones. 25. He is going to triple with 1 out. That means the infield will come in for Leo DeLip. He is singled and he's flied out to center. And he grounds to the pitcher. Pitcher looks back. Sukforth throws to first for the 2nd out. Fry will bat for himself, even though he doesn't have to. It's a wild pitch, and the go-ahead run scores. So Kelso got a little too comfortable or something. He was pitching out of a jam. He was tense. And here with 2 out, he thought he was out of the jam, and he threw the ball away. And the go-ahead run has scored. It's 2-1, 1930s. Fry will still hit for himself. He gets another hit. He's 2 for 2 with a walk. Put the brakes on him. And here is Walker. 1 ball, no strikes to Walker. Gets a base hit. Oh, we forgot to put the brakes back on, and he gets thrown out of third. So after 5.5, it is 1932, 1968, 1. Benny Fry has done a great job. He stands to win here, but I'm sure this is going to be ugly. 1-4 double W and an I. Ooh, why song? Eparixi, he's been pitching forever. I think he started in the early 10s, 20s, whatever. What do you call that decade? The 10s. I think he pitched. I remember doing a replay of the Philadelphia Phillies in the around 1915 or 14 or something, and he was on that team. So he's been pitching a long time. Where are we at? We're at the top of the order, so we have to bring in someone who's decent. Doug McWeeny. Unfortunate name, but a good pitcher, relatively speaking. He only just walks a lot of guys. He's okay. Ray Lucas. Oh, not very good. Culp. He's pretty good. Cy Johnson, all right. Carroll, no good. Eckert, in a pinch. Okay, we're going to bring in Archie Camp. No. We got one guy to we got 2 guys to look at here. Oh, he's not bad. Well, we said we're going to bring in Campbell, so that's what we're going to do. Archie Campbell. Oop, forgot to change pitcher. There we go. Archie Campbell will come in to pitch to Pete Rose, Alex Johnson, and Lee May. Here in the 6th inning, the 68s are trailing 2-1. Fly out. Alex Johnson. Fly out. Lee May gets the dreaded 11-16 error roll, but he gets over 16, so he grounds out, and that is it. Good job by Archie Campbell in the 6th inning. Now we're bringing in a reliever for Kelso, who threw away the go-ahead run last time up. Abernathy is their ace reliever, and there's one other good reliever. Who is it? He's a starter, so... I'm thinking of a reliever that had a... Gary Nolan's a reliever or a starter. I can't find him now. I thought they had 2 ace relievers. Oh yeah, Clay Carroll. That's the one. So we save these 2, Abernathy and Carroll, for like the 8th and 9th inning. Okay, so we got one more of someone who's not as good. We'll bring in Tony Cloninger. Tony Cloninger will come in to pitch the 7th to face Strip, Heilman, and Cuccinello. Here's Strip. He is 0 for 2 with a walk. And he flies out. Heilman, he has 0 for 2 with a walk as well. Grounded to short, flied out to center, and walked. And he gets a double roll. You don't see a double roll on a 44. That means he's very good. So he's in the second column. There's a couple home runs here. Not a lot. Just 11 and 66. This team did not hit a lot of home runs. See, we look here. Oh, they had a few. He had 19. That's not bad. So why does he have such a low... I mean, the only home run... Oh, because he has 66 is... Okay, there's where his home runs are. Just on the 66 straight roll, not the double column. Gets a 21. That is going to be a double. Put the brakes on Heilman. Second time he's reached base today for Cuccinello. He is singled. He has flied out to right, and he's walked. He's a good hitter. For a third baseman especially. We talked about this before, how third basemen typically weren't great hitters back then. Until the days of Schmidt and Brett. Flied out to left. 2 out for Musil. And he gets double roll, so more than likely he's going to drive in the run with 2 outs. 56. Certainly he will, because he doubles, and it's 3-1, 1930s. I don't think the 1930s have done well in this National Pastime III. The Phillies, even though the 30 Phillies won 7 of 9, they lost the National Pastime game 5-4. The White Sox, so they're looking to be the White Sox 68-1, the Braves 68-1, the Red Sox 68-1. So they're trying to become the first 1930 team to win in National Pastime III. And Musil drives in the insurance run. It's 3-1. Pat Crawford, the second baseman. And he walks to bring up Sukforth. Sukforth, error. So the bases are loaded. Cloninger is now tired. And Leo the Lip comes up. Although Leo the Lip can't hit worth a lick. Although he is 1 for 3 today. And he grounds out. So... he escapes. Cloninger escapes further damage. So that's it for Campbell. We're bringing a pinch hitter. Isn't Chuck Dressen a future manager? So this Cincinnati Reds have Leo the Lip and Chuck Dressen, 2 future managers on the team. So I guess there's a lot of leadership. Even their 7th place team, they had lots of leadership on the team. Let's see. Display cards here. We got Hod Ford, Johnny Gooch. I like saying that a few times. Might as well bring on Ivar Swanson. Well, I want someone who can get on. Here we go. Marty Callahan. I'll save a Swanson for like a key situation. He's a better hitter, but Callahan can get on base. So he's the one coming in now. Marty Callahan. Oh, no. I'm thinking wrong. I got to bring in a pitcher. Sorry about that, folks. Oh, yes. I was avoiding this because there's not much in the way of good things here. Okay, we got Perez, Bench, and Pinson. We really didn't have a closer at that time. McWeeny. He has a good card, but his ERA in real life was 7.27. He must have walked everybody. Lucas. Culp. Okay, we're going to bring in Ray Culp right now to face the middle of the order for the 68s. Sorry about that. I got mixed up. We'll bring in him. The guy that we thought of. What was his name again? We'll bring in Callahan next time. If you were a Marty Callahan fan, you were getting excited and see your hero, and then I took it away from you. So I promise I'll bring him up the first batter in the 8th. Okay, here's Culp, and now to face Tony Perez. He is 0 for 2. And he gets a base hit. So the tying run comes to the plate in the form of the rookie, Johnny Bench. His record in 1968, 275, 311, 433 with 15 home runs, 82 RBIs, and revolutionized the catcher position. Here's the pitch to Johnny Bench. He gets a ground out, but the runner advances to second for Veda Pinson. He's 0 for 2. He singles, but he's out at home. And there was nothing we could have put the brakes on, but I never put the brakes on if the guy's not a slow runner, as Bench is not. But the result was a 16, which is runner out at home. So, but Pinson advances to second, so Tommy Helms has a chance to drive him in. And he gets the second column roll, so he most likely will. Will he get a home run? There's only one home run possibility. That's if we roll a 66. Roll a 44, it's a double. And it's 3-2 now for the 1930s. He has an ESP, 2 out, so we don't put the brakes on. Should we bring in a better hitter? Do we have a good backup shortstop? Beauchamp. He's a pretty decent hitter. Pat Corrales is a catcher. Mac Jones is their best guy on the bench. Hal McRae was just starting out. He played a long time. I'm playing the 1983, and he's playing for the Royals. Then he's still going strong in 1983, so he's played a long time. Don Pavlich, he's not a shortstop. Jimmy Schaefer's not a shortstop. Woody Woodward is the backup shortstop. So yeah, might as well bring in somebody better in this key situation, although they might just walk him. And this is where I will, outsmart myself. Because, yeah, I'll just walk him for the pitcher and make him use another reliever or another pinch hitter. Though he's not a bad hitting pitcher. He had 395 slugging percentage. But we'll let Cardenas, just because I know myself, I'll just let him swing away. Here's the pitch to Cardenas. And he's caught stealing third. So he doesn't even get a chance to hit. All right, so all you Callahan fans, you're going to see your man now. Marty Callahan will pinch hit, and we'll bring in a relief pitcher. We're in the 8th inning, so we promised you Clay Carroll, and that's what I'm going to do. I deliver on my promises. So Clay Carroll will come in to face Marty Callahan, Kurt Walker, and Joe Strip here in the 8th inning. Callahan flies out. Kurt Walker grounds out, and Joe Strip, and he pops out. So easy inning for Clay Carroll. We're going to the bottom of the 8th. So Callahan, unless he's decent, we don't have any fielding problems really here. In the outfield anyway. They're all the same. So we might as well take out Callahan, and we'll bring in the 8th inning. We got to bring in our second best pitcher. I think Ken Ash is the best. So we're going to save him. And this McWeeny guy. I mean, everything's good except for this WW. And there's not a lot else. He's another WW, so I guess Cy Johnson. Okay, we're going to bring in Cy Johnson. Those WW scare me a little bit. All right, Cy Johnson face... Now we're going to bring in a pinch hitter. We're going to bring in Mac Jones. He's a good on-base guy, right? Yep. So we're going to bring in Mac Jones. Next year he will play for the Expos. And so he's going to face Cy Johnson. He's not a good fielder. And he gets a double. So the tying run's at second base in the 8th inning. Clay Carroll. That's it for Clay. And we're going to bring in somebody. Might as well bring in Woody Woodward. We're going to have to bring him in anyway to play shortstop. So he's going to pinch hit. And his job is going to get Mac Jones over. And he does his job. He grounds out, and Mac Jones is a fast runner. He's aggressive, and he goes to third. So now the tying run is at third with one out for Pete Rose. We're going to bring the infield in, and Rose is 2 for 3. He is doubled and singled and flied out to center. Here is Pete. He strikes out Pete Rose. How often does that happen? Not very often. How many times did he strike out in 1968? He was one of the leading hitters. I mean, 335 average in 1968 was astounding. One of his doesn't get credit for a great year. They always think of 1973 for Pete Rose, but that's an amazing numbers given the situation. He only struck out 76 times, so I think later in his career he was harder to strike out. So that time he struck out in a key situation. What am I doing? I'm bringing up that. Sorry. That's why I'm playing in the 1983 replay. Playing the Cubs versus San Diego Padres. That's to follow later. I don't think I'll record it, though. Just a nothing game. Really, Cubs are in 4th place, San Diego in 5th. So not the prime matchup. And the Cubs, I mean, they're just... You look at these... You know, how did they send guys to the mound like this? Jenkins, I mean, you can't blame Jenkins. I think it was his last season or second last season. But he's the ace of the staff. Dickie Knowles with his 1-4, 8.41 ERA. I mean, he should stay in jail. He's supposed to be in jail at this point. He was arrested in Cincinnati on opening day and before participating in a barroom brawl, and he got 16 days in jail, and then he appealed, so he's out of jail on appeal right now. On bail, I guess. And, yeah, he should stay in jail because he's doing horribly. Chuck Rainey, 5'3", 6'6", 404. Yeah, it's nothing to write home about the Cubs pitching staff of 1983. Anyway, Alex Johnson can still come through. He is 1 for 3 today. Mac Jones is anxiously waiting at third base. Here's the pitch. Struck him out. What a performance by Cy Johnson, striking out Rose, and Johnson with a runner on third base to end the inning and maintain this. That's what you call a hold. You should have a capital H hold or a bold letter hold in the box score for that one. So Woodward is going to stay in the game. He's going to play shortstop for Cardenas. And Mac Jones will come out of the game and we'll bring in Mr. Ted Abernathy. I think Abernathy pitched for the... Oh, you got to change. He pitched for the Cubs, I think, in 67. If I'm right, I don't know what the Cubs were doing. Just giving away players. They gave away Ray Culp to the Red Sox for a bag of hammers. And then they just release Abernathy. I don't know if it was one of those years, somewhere in the 60s, and just gave him away thinking he was too old. I mean, the guy, he was an amazing reliever, one of the best of the 60s, and they just gave him away for nothing, released him. Yep, that's what the Cubs do, even today. Anyway, here's Harry Heilman. Heilman is 1 for 3 with a walk. And he gets double roll again. He has home runs on 11 and 66. Oh, yes, wrong one. 33. Typically, that would be a home run, but he gets a triple at least. So here the insurance run is at third with nobody out. Infield comes in. Tony Cuccinello, Abernathy in trouble here. And he singles through the infield, and the run scores, and the insurance run, they have it. 1930s are up by 2 again, 4-2. Bob Musil. So for having the worst offense in the National League, they're not really that bad. You know, I think like what we saw with the Braves, and I wish I could remember his. I'm gonna look it up, man. I should know this. I played 9 games with him, so I should know. He was the best player on the Braves. You're thinking you're screaming out his name. I know it's an old man. Wally Berger, yes, Wally Berger. He did very little, even though he was incredible. in real life, he just did nothing. I mean, he had 38 home runs, 119 RBIs, batted .3. He was like the standout, the only standout on this team, and he did very little at least in the first round of the replay. But I think because the Reds are more balanced, they got a number. You can't just rely on one player in this, especially in National Pastime III. You have to have a balance. You have to have a lot of guys, maybe not great hitters, but have a lot of good hitters. You'll be successful. Just to keep the carousel, as I call it, going. The merry-go-round, around and around. That's the way to win this game. Can't have just one guy. Anyway, here's Musel with Cuccinello on first. And he grounds out, and Cuccinello advances the second for Crawford. Crawford pop fly, and Sukforth grounds out. But they got their insurance run, and now they will bring in their closer, Mr. Ken Ash. Will come in. He's going to be the closer. Designated closer. They didn't have that role in 1930, but for our sake of this replay, this project, Ken Ash will be our closer. He is, you look at him and he's got a 3.46 ERA. That's like a 2 ERA in 1968. Anyway, he's going to face the middle of the lineup, Lee May, Tony Perez, and Johnny Bench. Strikeout. Struck out Lee May. Here's Tony Perez. He is 1 for 3. And no error. He is fly out to left. So Johnny Bench is the last hope for the Cincinnati Reds of 68. And he space hit for Johnny Bench. The rookie comes through. I'm playing 1983, his last season, and now I'm playing his rookie season. Here's Veda Pinson. He's got to do something if they want to come back. His home run, there's nothing on the first column. He's got to get to the second column to hit a home run. And even then, there's not very many. There's only 4 I see here. Here's the pitch from Ash. And the game is over. The 1930 Cincinnati Reds win Game 1 and take a 1-0 lead. Here's the box score. And for change, the big hitter, the featured hitter of the 30s, does something. He had a double, a triple, and a walk. He was 2 for 4 with a walk and a double and a triple. And is he the MVP? I think he might be. Harry Heilman will name MVP. I was thinking of Benny Fry. He gave 4 hits, 1 run, got the win. So it could be either one. If you want to put in the comments who you think the MVP of the game, the player of the game, should it be Heilman or should it be Benny Fry? If anybody wants to comment on that, I'll be open to suggestions. It's very close in my books. Anyway, Game 1, more Cincinnati Reds coming up. Stay tuned, especially if you are a Cincinnati Red fan. But a bit of a surprise here in Game 1 as the 1930 Reds have 4 runs, 11 hits, and no errors. That's a key in this game because everything's stacked against them to have lots of errors the way the game is set up. And for the 68 Reds, 2 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error. The winner, Benny Fry. The loser, Bill Kelso. And that's Game 1. We'll stay tuned for next game. We'll see you then. Goodbye, everybody.